Meet Konga. He's not your typical gorilla. He didn't grow up with luxury, no comfortable jungle, no golden bananas, just a cage, a few scraps, and the kind of determination that would take him to places no one expected. Born in the confines of a small zoo, Konga's life wasn't easy. But in a world where some might give up, he saw opportunity. One day, while helping the staff clean up after a local boxing match, Konga found something that would change everything. $500. To you and me, $500 might seem small. But for Konga, it was everything. It was a lifeline, a key, a ticket to freedom. Every day he'd watch people work. He saw the street vendors, the entrepreneurs, and the hustlers of the city doing what they do best, making something out of nothing. Konga wasn't just watching, though. He was learning. He started to pick up on the skills that would eventually help him break free from his cage. He learned to communicate, picked up a few tricks, and discovered that, with the right skills and a bit of hustle, anything was possible. He saw people making money with simple ideas, and in that moment, Konga knew he had something special, waiting to be unleashed. But he needed to start small. With $500 in hand, Konga wasn't just going to sit around. He wasn't going to let this opportunity slip by. He had a plan, and it was time to make his move. Konga wasn't going to let the $500 slip through his fingers. He had watched the people around him hustle and make something out of nothing, and now it was his turn. With his newfound idea, Konga decided to invest every penny he had into a small business. No, it wasn't some high-tech startup or luxury brand. Konga went with something simple, something that worked. He opened his very own banana smoothie cart, but not just any smoothie cart. Konga made it unique, jungle-themed, complete with palm leaves and hand-painted signs. It was an instant eye-catcher. At first, no one took him seriously. People laughed when they saw a gorilla running a smoothie stand. They'd walk by, shaking their heads, some snapping photos for social media, thinking it was just a joke. But Konga didn't care about their laughter. He cared about one thing: sales. He started handing out free samples, blending fruits with his giant hands, showing the world that he wasn't just some novelty act. Slowly, people began to notice. They tasted his smoothies, and they liked what they tasted. Word of mouth spread, and Konga's cart became the talk of the town. The next thing he knew, people were lining up, waiting to grab a smoothie from the gorilla behind the counter. Konga's cart was more than just a business now. It was a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't just about the smoothies, it was about the experience. People came for the fun, the novelty, and left with a fresh, delicious smoothie they couldn't get anywhere else. Konga's charm, his attention to detail, and his hustle were paying off. As the weeks passed, he reinvested every dollar he made back into the cart. He upgraded the equipment, bought fresh fruit from local farmers, and even hired a few humans to help him with the growing demand. The business was booming. What had started as a humble $500 investment was now turning a solid profit, and Konga was starting to see the real power of his hustle. He wasn't just making smoothies, he was building a brand. Konga's smoothie cart wasn't just a business anymore, it was a taste of something bigger. He could feel it. This was just the beginning. Konga didn't stop at just one cart. He knew that in order to build something big, he had to think bigger. The smoothie cart had been a success, but Konga had a vision. He wanted more. He started looking around at other successful businesses in the area, studying what they did right and, more importantly, what they did wrong. It became clear to him that the key to scaling up was reinvestment, smart decisions, and, of course, keeping that signature touch that made his brand unique. With the profits from his first cart, Konga expanded. He bought more carts, designed to look just like his first one, and placed them in different parts of the city. Soon, he had 5 smoothie carts, each one packed with eager customers, all coming for the same thing: a taste of the jungle. But Konga didn't stop there. He realized that the smoothie business was only one piece of the puzzle. He needed to create a brand that people would recognize, trust, and even love. With his jungle-themed empire growing, Konga launched a line of eco-friendly merchandise. From reusable smoothie cups to t-shirts with his signature logo, his products flew off the shelves. But what truly set Konga's business apart was his digital presence. He created an online store, offering exclusive content, special discounts, and a chance to join the Primal Bites family. People weren't just buying smoothies, they were buying into a lifestyle. His social media game was on fire, and Konga's brand was starting to go viral. But it wasn't just the physical products and online store that made Konga's empire special. He understood the power of collaboration. Konga partnered with local food trucks, creating a network of businesses that helped each other thrive. He offered his smoothie recipes to other vendors, and in return, they promoted his carts. This gave him the kind of local street cred that no ad campaign could ever buy. As his business grew, Konga hired more people, built a team, and created a work environment that was as unique as his brand. His employees weren't just workers. They were part of the Primal Bites family. They wore the same khaki uniforms, shared the same jungle-inspired goals, and were all driven by the same mission, to make Konga's empire the best it could be. Konga had turned his $500 investment into something far beyond what anyone could have imagined. He wasn't just running a smoothie business. He was building a full-fledged empire, and as his influence grew, so did his vision for what was next. The future was looking bright for Konga, and he was ready to take on the world. What started as a humble smoothie cart had quickly turned into something much larger. Konga's hustle had transformed him from a simple zoo gorilla to the CEO of a thriving empire. His business wasn't just a local phenomenon anymore. It was becoming a household name. Konga wasn't just creating smoothies. He was creating a lifestyle. His brand, Primal Bites, had expanded far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Now, instead of running just a handful of carts, Konga owned an entire building, his headquarters, a modern glass tower that still held the essence of the jungle inside. It was filled with lush plants, tropical decor, and the same jungle-inspired energy that had made his brand famous. His employees worked in open spaces, surrounded by greenery, and everyone was united by one goal: to keep growing the empire. Konga had expanded his reach. He wasn't just selling smoothies and merchandise anymore. He had launched an online app for his fans to order smoothies directly from their phones, offering delivery and special deals. The app even featured an exclusive loyalty program where customers could collect points and earn rewards, like VIP tickets to events and limited edition merch. But it wasn't just about expanding the business. It was about creating an experience. Konga wanted people to feel like they were a part of something special, a movement that went beyond just food and drinks. He organized jungle-themed pop-up events, sponsored community outreach programs, and even launched a podcast where Konga himself, through a translator, shared his entrepreneurial journey and life lessons. Konga's brand wasn't just successful because of his hustle. It was successful because he built a community. His customers weren't just buying smoothies, they were joining an ever-growing family. They wore his merch proudly, they shared their Primal Bites experiences on social media, and they felt connected to Konga's vision. The gorilla who had once been locked in a zoo enclosure was now a mogul, a trendsetter, and an inspiration to millions. His empire was worth millions, and it was still growing. Konga wasn't just a success story. He was proof that with passion, dedication, and a little bit of creativity, anything was possible. And Konga was far from done. He had his eyes set on bigger things. The world was watching, and he was ready to conquer it. Konga's journey wasn't just about making money or building an empire. It was about something deeper. It was about the lessons he learned along the way, lessons that resonated with everyone who followed his story. People started to see Konga not just as a business mogul, but as a symbol of resilience and determination. When Konga was asked in interviews what had driven him to achieve such success, he didn't talk about his smoothie recipes or his business strategies. Instead, he spoke about the simple truth he'd learned through his journey. You don't need to be human to dream big. You just need to start. It wasn't about being the smartest, the richest, or the most experienced. It was about having the courage to take that first step and then never giving up, no matter the challenges. Konga's story was a reminder that sometimes the most unlikely individuals can rise above expectations when they believe in themselves. Through his podcast, Konga shared stories about his struggles and triumphs. He talked about how, at first, he was laughed at, how people doubted his ability to succeed, not just because he was a gorilla, but because he was different. And yet Konga never let that stop him. He knew that being different wasn't a weakness. It was his strength. His followers loved hearing his stories, not just because of his incredible success, but because Konga spoke from a place of honesty and authenticity. He wasn't pretending to be something he wasn't. He was simply being himself, a gorilla who had dreamed big and turned his vision into reality. People began to realize that Konga wasn't just a gorilla with a business. He was a teacher, a mentor, and a source of inspiration. His empire was built not only on profits, but on the belief that anyone, no matter their background or circumstances, could make their dreams come true. And while his success was mind-blowing, it was his message that resonated the most. Konga proved that no matter how small or how large the dream, if you take that first step and stay relentless, you can achieve greatness. But here's the twist. Was Konga really just a gorilla? Was his success story all part of a larger-than-life metaphor? Or was there something deeper happening behind the scenes? Some people wondered whether Konga was just a symbol of hustle and entrepreneurship, a clever way of showing that anyone, regardless of their background, could defy the odds. Others believed Konga's rise to the top was pure fantasy, a tale too wild to be true. But maybe that was the point. Maybe it didn't matter if Konga was real or not. Whether he was an actual gorilla or a creative story crafted to inspire, his journey was what truly mattered. His story wasn't just about the nuts and bolts of business. It was about breaking barriers, challenging norms, and proving that anything is possible with vision, hard work, and determination. Konga's tale captured hearts around the world, not because of the animal he was, but because of the human lessons he embodied. The hustle, the grind, the belief in something bigger than yourself. All those things resonate with anyone, regardless of who they are or where they come from. Whether Konga was a real gorilla or a metaphor for the underdog, his story became a rallying cry for dreamers everywhere. It became a symbol that anyone could rise above their circumstances. If Konga, from his humble beginnings, could turn a crumpled $500 into $1 million empire, then what was stopping the rest of us? In the end, Konga wasn't just a success story. He was proof that you don't need to fit into a box to achieve greatness. You don't need to look a certain way or follow a specific path. All you need is the courage to start, the drive to keep going, and the belief that you have what it takes to change the world. And that's the real takeaway. No matter who or what you are, your hustle can take you further than you ever imagined.